Governor Nikki Haley recently signed a bill into law making it illegal for a woman to obtain an abortion after her pregnancy reaches 20 weeks. The bill does not provide exceptions for rape or incest, and with the governor's signature, South Carolina becomes the 17th state to pass such a restrictive ban. In response to the new law, Planned Parenthood of South Carolina is refocusing its efforts to provide advocacy for and access to education and reproductive health care for women across the state. Tayana Till, a field organizer for Planned Parenthood, recently sat down with the Minority Eye to talk about the organization's mission and what the new law means for women here in South Carolina. How are you doing today?
I am doing well. How are you?
Pretty good. Thank you for taking the time to sit down with us today. We want to start out. Can you tell us a little bit about the mission of Planned Parenthood here in the Midlands?
So here in South Carolina, we actually have two health centers, one here and one in Charleston. Our primary purpose is to provide health care for women, men, and young people, and that's paired with education as well as access to all reproductive health care as well as abortion, STI testing, and everything that comes along with that, and also to advocate on behalf of health rights and women's rights here in the state.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your role with the organization.
So I'm a field organizer, which primarily means I'm like a community organizer, so I work with volunteers and work to raise awareness about our services as well as issues that are prohibiting us from doing our services in the community.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to talk with you today about, Governor Haley recently signed into law the 20-week abortion ban. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to kind of get some information about what is the position that your organization is taking. Do you feel do you guys feel that that was necessary or unnecessary? Give me the way your organization is viewing this bill.
So the bill is very unnecessary. So first off, 20-week bans in the state of South Carolina are not very common at all. When they do happen, they are they're very difficult decisions for folks to make, and they also have come with a lot of different circumstances. This particular bill doesn't make exceptions for rape or incest, and so that becomes really problematic because you're basically forcing someone to make a decision and putting the government and not the woman and the physician in between that really personal decision. It's not a community decision. It's a decision between that woman, her faith, her family, and her doctor.
Okay. What are some of the things that your organization is doing to combat this bill or to bring or raise the awareness in the community of it?
So for about 10 weeks leading up to the bill, we were doing pretty intensive phone banking to folks that could possibly support the bill, but towards the end, they waited until the very end of session to kind of push it through. But one of the things that we try to do is gain volunteers through our health center advocacy program, where we try to get patients involved in these types of issues, because though there are a number of people that support Planned Parenthood and legal safe abortion in South Carolina, it's not always the people that are necessarily affected by it. You may have a lot of older women, per se, that can't get pregnant anymore, that are very supportive, but I think it's way more personal when you are able to get the people that may or may not be in the situation to be more active about it. And so that's a lot of the work that we do. But we also work hand in hand with politicians at the State House that are very supportive of us. And I feel like we ask a lot of them, but they are very supportive because they understand that it's not the government's job to regulate women's bodies.
Tell us a little bit. You mentioned earlier that it's very rare for a woman to have an abortion at 20 weeks. Can you expound on that and tell us a little bit more about what are some of the reasons why, and what's the process about when a woman decides that there needs to be an abortion at 20 weeks?
So everybody has very different circumstances. The problem with this particular bill is that if you have a person that has been a victim of rape, and South Carolina has really high violence against women statistics. And so basically we're kind of re-victimizing, but also there are no exceptions for the health of the woman in a way where the doctor has to be 100% certain that the woman could die if she goes forth with the pregnancy or into child labor. And also 100% sure that, or almost 100% sure that the fetus will have some type of abnormality or die within like 24 hours of being alive. And so basically no medicine is 100%. And so it really puts doctors in a really difficult situation where they may feel like this is the best option for their patient and they can't make that decision. And so basically we have the government getting into medicine without consulting any doctors first, which was really the biggest problem with this bill, is that most of the gynecologists in South Carolina were like, why didn't anyone ask us about this bill, like about how it's like if this is even necessary. And because it's not a very common thing in South Carolina, it's just one that, and it usually is for some extreme circumstances, and we don't know what all of those circumstances are. There's no way to know. But typically it's a decision that should be between a woman and her doctor, and like we can come up with a million reasons why someone might need an abortion after 20 weeks, but it's all irrelevant. It's just they should be able to make that choice in a safe way.
Right. Now, I heard you've mentioned rare, and I'm trying to find out why the governor felt that it was even necessary. Is there any statistics? Are you any aware that kind of put a number to about maybe how many women get an abortion at 20 weeks in South Carolina?
Yeah, I know that it was less than 20. Mm-hmm. It's like barely in the double digits in South Carolina. I want to say one year it was like 8. So it's one of those things where it doesn't really happen. So that leads us to conclude that it's very politically driven. Okay. And most of the legislators that were supportive of it have tough primaries and also are very, tend to bring these very extreme bills just to kind of get their name in the news. And that's not necessarily something that we can prove right out, but it's also really important to note that it's very politically convenient, and we're seeing this happen all over the South. And it's not at all for the health and the safety of the woman, but they will claim that it is, and it's not for the health and safety of anyone involved. It's just a very politically charged issue. It's really easy to separate people on this issue, and politicians take advantage of it more often than they should, because at the end of the day, the women and the families that are going through these really tough decisions are the ones that suffer.
In recent years, Planned Parenthood has been in the news a lot and getting attacked mainly from the right. Can you tell us a little bit about what your organization here in South Carolina is doing to continuously educate the public and provide services? And so, what type of programs do you offer, and at what levels?
So our field program is kind of just beginning. We didn't have one prior to me coming here. And so one of our really big things is we do a lot of campus work, campus organizing, getting work with students. We're at a couple of campuses around the state. And we also are doing a lot more community tabling and going to community events just to let people know that we're here. We've been here in South Carolina for over 50 years. And the thing about Planned Parenthood is that if you don't need it, you typically don't know what it is. But we serve about over like 30,000 women a year. 75% of them don't have health insurance. And so we are a very important part of the state. And with all of our services that we do, even for example, we just started doing transgender services in our Charleston Health Center. And so now that's a place where an entire population that was being neglected in our state now has somewhere to go to get judgment-free care. And so what we really try to stress people is that we're first and foremost a healthcare provider. And then everything else kind of comes with it, and keeping our doors open is our number one priority. So if you ever see us doing anything in a community or at the State House or anything, it's because our patients are our number one priority, and being able to serve those thousands of men and women and teenagers that come here is really important to us. And it's something that at any time, if anyone wants us to be at any community event, we will come and teach people about all of the wonderful things that we do for so many people in South Carolina.
That's great. Could you tell us if community members wanted to get involved or give back or, kind of help you guys out? What are some of the things that you guys need help with?
So we have a couple of things. So we do a good bit of fundraising so that we can put money into programs that give back to the community. One of our really important things that we're working on right now is getting more availability for our community health educator so that she can actually go to places and teach about safe sex, HIV prevention, and a large range of different things. We are, for the field team, we're doing healthy community canvases this summer. We're actually going into communities and letting people know about Richland County's current syphilis rates, which are really rising. I didn't know that syphilis was back, but it is back. And it is really rampant, as well as HIV in certain counties around South Carolina is getting really bad in recent times. And so we're trying to raise awareness for that and raise awareness about prevention, as well as just the fact that it's happening. People have no idea that these diseases are back in their communities, and they are, and they're affecting our young people at really fast rates. But we also do, so for example, for the 20-week ban bill, when we had our phone banks, it will be really, really important to have folks involved in that type of work so that they can contact their legislators. One of the reasons why our legislators get to do as much things that they do that some of us don't necessarily agree with is because there's no one there to hold them accountable. So even if you can't come to the office, if you are keeping up with the news and you see that there's something going on at the State House that you're not comfortable with, you need to contact your legislator. And I promise you that they will take into account because they want to be reelected. And so it's really important for people to just stay civically engaged. This summer, we'll be doing a good bit of voter registration, and not just, in a way where like vote for things that Planned Parenthood care about. We just want people to be involved, because when we have a more involved citizenship, like our Citizen Street, it makes a huge difference in the way that things operate at the State House. We had a lot of, sometimes this issue tends to be split across party lines, but here in South Carolina, we had a lot of Democrats vote against this bill, or vote for this bill. So, and it's not because they had, it was mostly because no one was there to tell them not to or to hold them accountable. And so it's really important that even if you can't come in and volunteer with us, we have a number of different opportunities around the community. But if you can't, stay on top of your representatives, because when they don't think that anyone's watching, they do this type of stuff. Even my personal senator did something that I'm uncomfortable with, and when I found out, it was already too late. So definitely stay on top of that. And if you would like to donate, we have a website. It's Planned Parenthood South Atlantic Votes. And you can donate directly to South Carolina, which is really important. And even write a note like, I want for this $10 to go to South Carolina, because we really need it. We're really trying to grow here and touch our community. I'm from South Carolina, so working here is very personal to me. Our affiliate includes South Carolina and North Carolina and West Virginia and the bottom half Virginia. And I plan to stay here and do this work for as long as possible because I really care about my community. I care about our overall health, and I care about women and their families being able to make decisions that they need to make in order to have their healthy families the way that they want and when they want them. So.
Ms. Teal, before I let you go, could you leave us with some contact information in case somebody wants to get in contact with you or your organization to find out how they can get involved locally?
Absolutely. You can go to that same website, Planned Parenthood, South Atlantic Votes, or just PlannedParenthood.org, and you can put in your zip code and sign up to volunteer, and they will send me a direct link, and I will contact you, and we can move forward from there. We have a pretty lengthy, well, not lengthy, but a really secure volunteer onboarding process to make sure that everyone that's involved is really safe. And it's a good time. We have some great volunteers here, really passionate folks about healthcare and social justice. And so we invite anyone that is interested to come.
All right. Ms. Hill, thank you for taking time to sit down with us.
No problem. Thank you.